Howdy, y'all. I don't really have anything special to say today. I want to take the time to thank the people that joined selfdefensefund.com, www.selfdefensefund.com. Thank you for signing up. It uh, it helps me out. Hey there, Pat, my good son. Hey, Chief. Uh, I just want to thank people for watching my videos, for encouraging me to do what I do. Hey, and I just like to every few days or once a week or something check in and say hello to everybody and give people an opportunity to say hello to me if they want to. Go audit or good content. Hmm. Well, that's my other thing I was going to talk about. I probably will be an auditor of sorts probably the rest of my life. Hey, 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 y'all. Howdy, howdy, howdy. And I say that I've been an auditor in a roundabout way for years and years. Hey, real jingy. China Lynn. Just a girl. The True True Box 3000. Some of this I can't see. I need to get my glasses on, but I don't have them handy. I should keep them handy, shouldn't I? Anyway, uh, I've always been an auditor of sorts, as in I've always tested the system. Sometimes people told me, hey, maybe you need to get a job down the road. You're not with the program. You don't understand how things work around here. And I'd put people in check by saying, no, I know exactly how they work around here. Morning. But if they're not legal, they're not legal. So I sat down a lot of people at a table and said, look, let's take out this little policy book or this code book and these memorandums here. And this says the following thing. I said, now, do you know what part of this is unconstitutional? No, it's all constitutional. I say no, and I'd circle a line or write a line. I say this part it's not constitutional, and this is why. And so now this city, y'all want me and my officers to enforce this policy or this procedure, but we cannot do it because it flies in the face of the state or national constitution. We can't enforce that. So I've done that for years and years and years. And when I was coming up through the ranks, I told other officers, my superiors at the time, hey, we can't enforce this. And they said, well, it's the policy. And I said, I understand. But if they write a policy over there that says people in yellow coats, you can shoot them today, can you do that? Well, heck no. I mean, that'd be murder. Right? So I just went to an extreme to prove to you they can put anything in writing. But if it does not pass constitutional muster of the state and the nation's constitution, sometimes if one constitution's silent to something, the other one isn't. But um, there's been a lot of things going on with this Second Amendment. Uh, your First Amendment is there because of the Second Amendment. If you didn't have the Second Amendment, and government had no reasonable fear not to tread on the people's rights, not to stomp on their private property, which is their rights, then of course the people would have to take it because uh, baseball bats and rocks don't fare very good against machine guns and the like. So there's been a lot of good wins, some losses, but we've had a lot of wins in the last 18 to 24 months on on the Second Amendment. We've had a lot of good wins on the First Amendment. All the amendments have a place, but I focus a lot on the first and the second. I focus on all of them, but those are my, like laser focus. Because remember, the men that came here that fought in the Revolutionary War, they had been under tyranny, so they wanted to be let alone. They didn't want the government to help them. They helped the government to form it and to fund it and to keep it limited and light. And the Constitution was a restraint on government, not a restraint on us. It was a restraint on government. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So it was to restrain the government, to tell the government what they could not do. And it laid out a few specific duties and responsibilities that it must carry out. So when they go above those deals, hey, here's my baby. Do you love your daddy? Say hello to the people. He's a good little guy. He's an old fella, but he's a good guy. They were they had to have soldiers. They had to quarter soldiers in their house. They had to let soldiers stay in their house. Constitution says soldiers can't just come and stay in your house. You know, it says your house can't be just searched. The captains in the armies in the United Kingdom, they used to write out a warrant on a piece of paper in front of your house and just kick your door in. So there was a reason they made you couldn't be arrested without a warrant. There was reasons that people couldn't just search you. There was reasons that every man had a right to have a gun. There was a right for due process of law, so forth and so on. But I wanted to just check in with y'all and say howdy and thank you, and to anybody that was able to help Jay Vincent out up there with Look Fawyers. And that video seemed to get a lot of sympathy and understanding and a lot of compassion and understanding for various reasons. I have helped him in the past, and I will help him again now. And I think I think that it's Jay's story, and I think he's either alluded or directly told it in the past. But basically, he played by all the rules, went to church, fed his family, did all the things a good man's supposed to do, and they got a very close family. And I think there's 5 children, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, he did everything right. Hey, y'all. Gobble, gobble. Uh, he did everything right by the book. So eventually, the system came against him, and he fought the system tooth and toenail to keep uh, his integrity, his honor, his duty, his dedication to society, to his family. He did everything he's supposed to do. But somewhere down the line, the government acted against him in an unlawful way, and he dealt with it and dealt with it and dealt with it until basically uh, they suffocated him, metaphorically speaking. So when they did, Basically he was thrown out of his home onto a street. So he had to find a new way to live. And they did a lot of things that caused a lot of, they did a lot of things. I got to ask my wife a question. Did you put my keys back?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Do you have your phone?
Yes.
Okay, y'all be praying for my mother-in-law. She's got a bad problem with her knee that's just really got to going crazy on her, and we had to rush to her home this morning to help her. And we had to come back here and take some stuff, and my wife's got to go back. So be praying for my mother-in-law that she be healed and help us to help her. This is how we roll around here, like G.I. Joe Christians, foot soldiers for the Lord Jesus Christ. Uh, don't eat the dog chief. That's crazy. How would anybody put something down like that? Uh, anyway, I'm trying to read some of these stuff, and sometimes some people have a dark sense of humor or a really dry wit, and I don't always get it. Sometimes they're just mean and hateful. But hey, 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 hey. Yes, lift her up into healing. Yes, uh, trolls are on the attack. Well, here's I had a really deep discussion. I don't want to forget what I was talking about, but I had a really deep discussion with the team psychologist, and he said that we should maybe give the trolls some love. Maybe we should give them some hugs and kisses, and maybe we should just let them say what they're going to say and recognize them. And maybe we could, or maybe we should, uh, recognize them by name. So we'll just keep a list of the names of the trolls, and then we'll put up some kind of banner that says, Welcome Trolls. And then it'll just have all their names listed down there so that everybody will know who the trolls are. And if the trolls change their name or they got multiple identities, we'll still know it. Uh, you know, I'm kind of like this here. I audit. I have audited, audit now, and I see me auditing the rest of my life. But I done it before I had a video camera. I did it with just me. I was in uniform a lot of times when I did it. I was in civilian clothes when I did it. I was in people's homes. I audited the entire criminal justice system inside out my whole career. So sometimes people say, hey, you got to move on down the road. Uh, we don't want to be exposed here. And I said, I'm going to stay longer now and dig in my heels because you you tried to push me out. So I'm going to stay longer, and I'm going to dig in my heels and dig deeper and expose you and whomever else. Then when I get ready to go, I'll either resign or if I got enough years in, I'll retire. And when I get ready, I'll come out of retirement if I do get ready. Every single time I retired, I thought I was done. A lot of people do 20 years and they're out. I think I had done 30 or 32 years, and I said, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, I'm really out. When I retired my second police job, I says, I'm done. And some people consider corrections law enforcement, some don't. But I had a job that I could go to at a corrections facility, and I said, you know what? I said, if I go up there, it's a smaller county jail, maybe 300 inmates and maybe 30 people on staff. I said, I can do that. Uh, uh, Not. Thanks, Patty, but no. We're sitting out here relaxing. Uh, I I said I just do some corrections because a lot of these people got jammed up and go to jail for no good reason. Some of them done been in there 5 or 10 times, and I don't know how they kept getting out. They knew how to play the system. Okay, Real Genie wants to know about. I think he's asking how does real bad cops get to be real bad chiefs. First of all, I don't have all the answers, obviously. Um, but if you work for a particular department, longevity has a place in you moving up the chain of command, just like it does in any other business. The second thing is you spend a little time with the upper echelon, the upper supervisors, that whether that's a corporal, sergeant, uh, um, in other words, they rub elbows with other people and they kind of get liked and they keep trying to move up and so forth and so on. Yada yada yada, and they just kind of move up, and then they get to be a chief in that same city they've been in, or they'll go from this city over to this city because they can go from sergeant here to a lieutenant there. Then sometimes they come back to the old department when they got a captain position, so they move around to come up in rank. But anyway, I was to get back to my deal. I said, well, I'll go do the corrections, and I did, and I helped a lot of people with a lot of cases, and helped police investigators to find out the ones that really wasn't guilty to get them out and quash the case. Those that was really bad boys and uh, really hurt people and so forth and so on, to help them build a legitimate case against them. So I used my cop skills in the jail along with my correctional skills, and I'd been doing that for a while, and I was really enjoying it and really liking it. But bills began to pile up over several months because that job didn't pay what I was used to paying in a small county. And so Leon County Sheriff's Office was paying pretty good if I would be a correctional deputy sheriff, correctional officer. I'd be dual certified. So that's when I went over there so I could work out on the street and work in the jail. They could use me anywhere because I'm dual certified. So that's what I did. And so I come out of retirement and went back there. Then I got injured and I had an administrative line of duty retirement from there. I could go anywhere else, it's just something they determined there. So I retired, medicaled out there, if you will, administratively. And then I got back in again, then I retired again, then I got back in one last time and I retired. So it was like I was in and out 3 or 4 times there in 4.5 to 5 years, 6 years. So anyway, now what Real Jiggy was asking about was people going to take their chief of police job over here and then go to some other city and keep getting their pension. Now, I don't know California's really got a really uh, different kind of retirement system out there. I mean, just really unlike anybody else's, from what all I've been told. Ohio really had, if it hasn't changed, really has a really weirdo retirement system. In fact, I don't know about now, but back in the 90s, hello, in the 90s, every time a police officer wrote you a ticket, one or two or $3, whatever it was, went off of that ticket, went specifically to his pension plan. Okay, so the way I understood it was the cities or the entities was paying to their retirement plan so much per paycheck or so much per quarter, like 10% of what they was making off the top. They did that, and then the officer paid 5%, so or something along those lines. So that's like 15%. Okay, so say you take 15%, and just say an officer's making, you know, $30,000. Well, so you got what, 4,500 a year going in, I think, and then they put it in some kind of program where it actually draws a little, excuse me, a little bit of interest. I don't know exactly how that works, but anyway, uh, then on top of that, then say you got somebody out there that may have normally gave you a warning. Normally. Well, he decides he's going to write you a ticket. Why? Because that $2 or $3 will go in the pension plan, so he has an incentive to write you a ticket when he wouldn't. So to me, that's a conflict of interest, and it's unscrupulous, and it should be unconstitutional. And probably, if they ain't, somebody will probably go after that system. That's how it used to be with constables and sheriffs. Part of their paycheck and elected marshals, uh, that's part of their paycheck. So, like, if it was the same now as it was then, they would might make $300 a week plus. Every time they took somebody to jail by today's standards, they'd get $20 for an arrest, like public intoxication, disorderly conduct, and then a DWI in Texas or a DUI elsewhere in the country, that might be a $40. It's a more serious, higher fine would be on your paycheck. And let's see, regular speeding tickets running stop signs was $2 or $3. Well, the point is, uh, if you write enough of them tickets and do enough of them DUI stops and so forth and so on, you make another two, three, $400 a week in all these traffic stops. So your $200 turns into $600 or whatever. Plus, every one of them is $2 to $5 or going in your retirement account. So boom, y'all, here you go. Now you're 20 years later. Now you retire. Now a third of your money uh, that you're getting on your retirement is off a ticket you wrote that you might not have wrote if you wasn't going to get something off of it. Okay, I mean that's akin to a bribe or something. I mean that's just illegal. And then they used to have a justice of the peace uh, in Texas. They got a percentage on every person they found guilty. So they had, even when a person was innocent, they had a vested interest to find them guilty as far as the money goes. So they'd pay some of their check, just like the sheriffs and stuff. So it was a messed up system. And I don't know if the Supreme Court in Texas made them change it or somebody filed a suit. But somewhere in the late 70s, they got it straight in Texas, and that could be no more. And I don't know what's going on, but this chief's going from place to place. Let's put it like this: when I retired My uh, chief's position at the first chief of police location I retired in Florida, I did not have enough years and I was not the right age that I could reap any benefit from it. So I did not file for it. So there wasn't nothing for me to carry. When I retired from my second chief of police job in Florida, I still did not have enough time and I did not was not old enough on the system I was on because I had been on a particular city's in-house retirement, which I cashed out, which wasn't a whole lot. I mean, I was with one city like 7 years, and when I retired as chief of police there, they paid something like 2 or 3%, and I could add to it or not, and I didn't put no money in it. The money I made was so low, I had to pay bills. You know, yeah, wow, wow. Anyway, the point is that if when I got to the point where I said I'm going to retire from Florida, they had converted over to another thing where you could be in the investment program. So I had enough years in where I had worked for the state retirement system. You could work in lots of jobs, be in the state retirement system. Your pension moved with you where you went from place to place to place to place. Well, I had enough years in, but I still wasn't old enough, and I would have had to do whatever for however many more years uh, to get it. But let's just say, but it was rolled over to a pension plan, and I could get anything anytime I wanted then. So I said I'm going to go ahead and cash out, which this had always been in the retirement account, but at a certain time they let you change it over. So like, yay! So I changed it over and I put it over, and it was like a little less than $20,000 that I could get, and that was all in. That was it. Period. Unequivocally, the whole 9 yards. So I cashed that out, and the little one from that other police department was like 7 or 8 thousand. So if you put it all together, my entire retirement for my entire life probably like 27,000. Because like when I was in Texas, if you didn't do so many quarters in such a certain amount of time and your city didn't participate, uh, it just didn't work out. It didn't work out for me, uh, and I would have had to buy some time in Texas. And I did some calculation on math, and it seemed like I was going to break even, and it was a lot to go through, so I didn't do it to retire in Texas. Now that I'm older, and if I had done a particular system and waited, it might have been worth it. But you know, when you're 18, 19 years old, you don't think like you do when you're 30, 40, 50 years old. And when I worked in Alabama, I didn't work long enough here to get a retirement here. And when I worked in Tennessee and in Oklahoma, I didn't work there long enough to qualify for their retirements. So they paid into whatever retirement system they paid into while I was there, and that retirement system just gets to keep the money. I don't never get none of that. So I got a paycheck and probably a grand total of $27,000 for all my years of work. Of course, if I'd worked at Walmart or I'd worked at a car dealership or been a carpenter electrician and I'd done that for 40 years, I wouldn't have had $27,000. So I ain't griping, bitching, complaining. I'm glad I got what I got. A lot of times I got lower pay than I was qualified for, but that city needed me. I felt good about it. Uh, you know, it is what it is. But what I want to tell y'all is that I'm going to try and focus the majority of my time like I originally was and try and explain the laws and explain how the laws came about. I'm going to try and keep you informed on uh, uh, how to apply them, show you some case laws, tell you how they come about their decisions. And if they rescind a decision or set it aside or overturn it, why do they do that? Give you some case law on it, explain it to you, uh, tell you some things that you might want to know if you go into a courtroom and you're going to be pro se, some things you might want to think about, some things you might want to engage in. I'm not a lawyer or judge, so what I'm telling you is absent legal advice, absent legal value, but it's full of common sense and full of actual experiential reality, and you can do with it as you choose. I want to get more on the train of being an educator and a trainer. Uh, some people will scoff at it, but I've had police officers run into in the street and they've recognized me from YouTube. And they said, "Hey, you were saying this, that, or the other thing on your YouTube, and that ain't what they taught us in the academy, but I went and looked it up, and I've talked to older cops, and I found out that what you said was true." Well, that validated me and made me feel good. And so that's helping some police on the street. I've run into people that I've met at these audits or get togethers, and they've said, "Hey, you use some Latin terms and phrases we wrote down. We looked them up. We went to the archives and got copies of various things, and what you said is true." So it's been very nice and very helpful to a lot of people. So I've tried to not be aggressive. I've tried to be firm, fair, and honest wherever I've gone. There's Reverend Kelly. He's uh, he's helping me do some wonderful things. That Reverend Kelly is. He's a good soul, and I think I'll be showing y'all some things in the next day or two to maybe the next week in the way of a theme song music, some intros, just a whole lot of great things that anybody in YouTube could benefit from. I mean, it had to be their own style, but it's a lot of creativeness the Lord's blessed this man with, and I'll be sharing some of that with y'all along with his contact information in case you want it for your YouTube, or you want to get something that he can design and you can print it out on a sheet of paper and take it to a company and have it put on a hat or a shirt if you like a particular logo. Uh, anyway, I got new ideas and things always popping into my mind, and I'm going to put Reverend Kelly's contact information down when I put down the stuff that he's given unto me to help me out and get my name out. Now, uh, I want to say that I love y'all and I thank y'all for everything y'all have done for me, everything you're still doing, and everything you will continue to do. Uh, some people tell me, "Hey, don't forget to ask people to donate." Here's the deal: people know my donate link by now pretty good, I'm sure, and I put it in my videos. And I'm gonna try and remember and put my www.selfdefensefund.com link in there where you put for chief or chief. I get credit, then they throw me a few bones. That helps buy gas to go places or do things. It helps pay this cell phone bill. I mean, this bill's like $130 something a month on this unlimited thing I got on this old grandfather plan. Well, I got to pay that, and Yeah, I do make phone calls on there, and most of them have something to do with this. Uh, so, you know, it's there if y'all want to give. If I don't have anything specific coming up, I just will let it just sit there and sit there till something comes up, and then I'll use that along with anything else anybody gives at the time of the trip. But uh, I haven't asked nobody to buy groceries for me and my family. Haven't asked nobody to pay any of our medical expenses or housing expenses or automobile payments or gas for our vehicles or any of that sort of stuff for our life. Nobody has paid $1 for anything for me or my family. We have zero, zero, zero personal gain out of these donations. Zero. In fact, we put in some of our own money along with everybody else's to get us from place to place as a press agent, to get us there as a minister, to get us there as a advocate for the Constitution, and specifically for the First and Second Amendment. Uh, but I like this idea of writing down all the names of all the trolls that we can do and plaster it on here so that everybody will be aware of who the trolls are by name. So we'll kind of out them by name. And we may even give a first place, second place, and third place to trolls, meaning, uh, saying Cheesy Dip, he's the troll's troll. He wins first place. He's the most persistent, nasty dog troll there is. Then second place and third place. So we will give them recognition, which is what they seek, and maybe when they get the recognition, they'll go away. Except for those that are paid, and people behind the scenes pay them to troll certain people's pages, uh, or they got a loose screw and they don't like you, then people's always going to stick around until you report them to YouTube enough people enough times that they ban them and cut them off. But I like to, I, I really like to teach y'all biblical law, the original King's Law, and then when the Revolutionary War come along, us going into the common law, common common usage, uh, customs and usage of the people, and how that law has never changed, and how the superior law is still the common law. They're not applying it, but it is superior. And nothing happens till you make a claim. They have this natural assumption that everything works this one particular way. And the only way to get out of it is to stand up and say, I object, and I make the following claims. And then sometimes they still try and steamroll over you. And you've got to go back and you got to appeal it to a higher level, make the same objections, make the same claims, and usually at that appeals level, uh, it will actually be made to be what it is. But occasionally it appeals up to the higher level. But usually, overall, it gets taken care of. So if y'all want to donate to me, uh, you can, and I'll sit on it until there's a need. I just park it just part the donations over to the side. You know, I sometimes get these donations where it says, uh, take your son out to a fun place. You know, they know he's autistic, he has other disabilities we don't talk about. You know, they're kind of correlated in it, but not really. And some people have sent $10 or $50 or whatever, and said, "Hey, take your son to a nice place to eat, or uh, uh, go buy him." One guy sent like $30 and said, "Get him whatever kind of shirt he wanted." Well, he wanted a certain kind of shirt, and we bought it. Wound up being like more than the donation. We just made up the rest and got it for him. Some people said take him out to eat whatever he wants to eat. Well, he loves barbecue and he loves fish. So one time we took him out to the all he could eat fish place, and one time we took him to the barbecue place. People give donations. I mean, we take him there ourselves, but sometimes our funds just don't do it. We're on a low fixed income. It's just the way it is. So we're trust beneficiaries when you get right down to it. And it's easier for me to stay home and do nothing. If I stay home and do nothing, it saves the sweat off of my brow. It it saves aches and pains in my back and my feet. It lets me and my family have more time together. I don't run into these quasi ethical or legal questions that would not be in my life if I wasn't doing this for the people. So I put myself in harm's way repeatedly trying to help the people. And if people want me to do that, then they're going to have to donate for me to do it. If they say, "No, Chief, you know, you're an old fella, you done your time, you did your 40 years, uh, that's good, just don't go." Well, it's obvious if the money ain't in PayPal, then boom, I don't go. It ain't helping me. It's helping y'all. So, I'm your newspaper guy. I'm your electronic newspaper guy. If I can't go, I can't go. If there's not enough money put in the slot box, I can't go. Right at this particular moment, there's no place to go. Well, there's always somewhere to go, but there's nowhere that people called me on the phone, sent me texts and emails, where there was not just one or two, but there was a sufficient number of people asking me, please go. And some of those people that asked provided, uh, uh, you know, just said basically, don't go here, don't go there. I always pray about it. And I'm always prepared to refund money or to give the gift back. Uh, like if something happened and people like gave a lot of money and then something happened, I was sick or something happened to where it couldn't happen. Uh, if if any individual people, all of them said, "Hey, I'd like my donation back," that's not a problem. That's not a problem. Uh, I Reverend Kelly's a good man. Yes, he is. He's a very, very good man. Uh, Reverend Kelly's a very smart man, very talented man, and he needs transportation. Uh, a moped, a scooter, a bus, a car, a truck, something just to get him around with. Last November at Thanksgiving, his car broke down, and he's on a very small trust fund himself. So he's on a very small fixed income, and so it costs more money than he has, and he can't really save his little bit up. I mean, it takes everything he's got to live, so there's nothing extra to go get the car fixed. So he needs a car, and he's willing to work for that car or truck. And he said, "I'll just take a scooter. I'll just get a dang scooter." And I said, "Brother, you're older. You're not the strongest man in the world. You've got a disease in your muscles where it's hard to walk very far or even stand a long time. And where you're at, a lot of times in the year it gets very, very cold and snows. You're going to have a car or a truck or something to get around in." But he's willing to work to get it. So when I show you in the next few days or the next week or so some of his work, and I plastered on here, uh, you may want to hire him to make you a theme song, uh, or do some artistic work that you can use on your show, or that he can make up to, you can put on hats or shirts. He's really smart and really good in creating music and whatever go on shirts and hats, coffee mugs, and all that sort of stuff. So the point is, uh, he'll be willing to do that, and you could give him some donations for whatever you want. Like you could say, "Well, I want this song," and he says, "Well, it'll probably cost me." I'm just making some up. Just say if he said, "It'll cost me $150 to write it, get it in the studio, get it laid down." They'll give him a little discount of studio from what most people do because he's been around. But let's just say if he says it'll cost 150 to chug it out. And then you say, "How long?" You say, "Probably take me about 3 days to do the whole enchilada." Okay, great, fantastic. Well, during that time, then maybe you say, "Well, I'll throw in $100 donation for that." Well, great, that's $100 he can put aside. Uh, Maybe so on some artistic work and stuff, and he does that on the side. And so, "Well, I'll give you $100 for that." Well, that's 200 towards that car. He does that for a handful of people, and maybe people's more generous. Then, bam, he's got $500 or $800, and he's got a tag, insurance, and a car that will go from point A to B. So uh, he ain't out there having to walk in old age and messed up. And he supports everything we do, and he's willing to work for what he gets. To me, I'm doing a labor of love for the people, and I'm getting nothing out of it. All you're doing is funding me to get there and get back. That's it. Now, I'm glad to do it, but it's a lot of headache and heartache on me. I'm not perfect, and I don't do everything the way people would want me to do it. But if I'm not doing it to your satisfaction, then you go get your own channel and you go do it the way you would do it. And then you go ask people to support you and sponsor you to get from place to place with donations. And then you take off and you go do it, and you risk going to jail. You risk getting tasered. You risk getting beat down or shot. Okay? Now, if I get out there and I get tasered and have a heart attack or stroke, or I get thrown into the jail, who's going to take care of my family? You? The next YouTube family? The next YouTube? Yeah, who's going to take care of my wife and son? If I go out there and get killed bringing you the news, who's going to take care of them? I'd venture to say there's nobody on here going to do it. So it's just me like, "Well, he was good while he lasted until the police shot and killed him. Yeah, his wife's going to sue him, but that's 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 years down the road. That'll get settled, and They're going to have to live in a tent on the side of the road. Good old Jones went out there and fought for us and got killed. And we questioned him and talked bad about him, and trolls said all kind of nasty stuff. He was an honest guy, went out there and did it for the people. He's the original People's Peace Officer. He's been saying that about himself for years and years because other people said it. Now he says it. I'm the people's original peace officer. I kept peace and tranquility in the community, which was my job. I was just going to tell y'all that if people are like, when's the next audit? When's the next audit? Where's it at? I don't know. I don't know. Whenever somebody calls me and I see that there's a great need at a particular place, if that's 10 miles down the road, that big in Bama is a nasty troll. He follows me around. He he has it for me for some reason. He's a nasty, 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 nasty troll. And if I didn't say it, he's a nasty troll. Uh, he's just evil hearted. Uh, uh, says, you know why, pig. Well, maybe you're a pig. But I wish somebody would make that big in Bama go away. He's nasty, filthy, hate filled man. See, keeps saying, tell why I don't lie. I have no earthly idea what this man's even talking about. Uh, See, he likes to play these games. You tell him. Of course you do. See, makes it sound like I'm keeping some secret. There ain't no secret to keep. Let's see, he just keeps on and on and on. He's uh he's just a evil, evil, evil man. He's either in love with me and wants my attention, or he's jealous of me. Uh, whatever it is, I don't know. But he came on another channel. I made a comment. He got on to trolling and threatening me and doing bad, and the people over there. Uh, yeah, I want him blocked. I want him to go away forever. Uh, Sometimes you can time somebody out for a little bit, and that's all it takes, and they like get the idea. But people like him, and I haven't just been on one channel. Thank you, Reverend Kelly. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. But I've been on two or three different channels in the last 30 days, and this troll follows me everywhere I go, saying nasty little stuff about me or making insinuations or trying to call me out and so forth and so on. I believe that there are peace officers, law enforcement officers that the title pig would would fit them. I believe that, but not all of them. Uh, I believe if a police officer knows something's wrong and he still does it, then he's a pig. He's a swine. Okay, in his behavior and his actions. Okay, if he believes what he's doing is right and correct, and he has logic and common sense behind it, and he's been taught and trained this way, and say whatever it is really not right, but he's been taught and trained that it's right, and he thinks it's right, then we have hope. We hope that we can retrain him or cause him to be retrained or taught through a court order that he can't do this and why so we can retrain him. Yeah, it did. It started in the 1960s. Um, and so the police by the 1980s tried to figure out a way to turn it around. So if somebody called you a pig, you'd say, that's absolutely right. Pride, integrity, and guts. So they turned it around to the people. Uh, Police are the trigger mechanism of government. That is to say, they're the enforcer. It don't matter how many laws you have, how many codes you have, policies, statutes, or anything else. It does not matter if there's 10 million of them. Till you got a man that goes out there, and of course, men and women these days, but uh, I still say men a lot of times without saying women, not because I'm trying to cut them out, but because that's how I was used to talking, and it was basically all men, with a few exceptions. So I'm still say men a lot of times, but that's not. I just want to let the ladies know I'm not cutting y'all out, but just my speech pattern. Nothing, no bad intent. But when a man goes out there, if he goes out with the mindset, I need a job to pay my bills and take care of my family, so far so good. If he gets out there and says, okay, I'm going to this training, I'm going to learn this, I'm going to learn it good and right to take care of my safety and everybody else's safety and do right, good. But if somewhere down the line he starts following bad habits and he don't question the trainers, he doesn't question the training, he doesn't think for himself, he becomes a trained robot, a man robot, like this does not compute, this does not compute. Uh, then he loses all sense of integrity. He loses all sense of righteousness. His moral compass is now non working, and he just does what he's trained to do. And if he ain't been trained right, he's a danger to himself and everybody around him. And they do a whole lot of scaring the police in the academy. So sometimes when you get these cops out there, they're to say, trained to say, I was in fear of my life. That's the get out of jail free card. I was in fear of my life. I was in fear of my life. Okay, so it's ingrained into them. I've heard I've heard an instructor tell people, when you go home tonight, officers, look in the mirror, look at your facial expressions, and say in the mirror to yourself, I am in fear of my life. I am in fear of my life, and get it embedded in your head. That is the catchphrase you will need to say if you pulled your weapon. Whether you shot or not, or you killed somebody, I was in fear of my life. Second thing is you're going to have to articulate what was it. Did they have something shiny in their hand that you thought was a gun? They reached into their pocket. They made an overt move for what you believe was for a weapon. So you it has to be, I'm in fear of my life and what caused it. So you're going to have a connection, a causal connection. They had a baseball bat they were reaching for. They were fixing to get in their car and drive over me. I thought they had a gun or knife in their pocket and they were going for it. Whatever it is. And then, bing, you're justified. And then they'll tell them about, they teach them in the academy, in this day and time, everybody's a suspect. Don't trust nobody. Uh, It doesn't matter if that man or that woman's 4 foot tall. They look like they're close to 100. And they're on a cane, and you can obviously tell that they're not armed. I mean, 98% chance says they got nothing on them. Uh, you may have seen them 50 times on this road. Don't be too sure that they don't have a bomb under their shirt. Don't be too sure they don't have a gun under there. Don't be too sure that they won't shoot you and kill you. So they put a lot of that scare tactics into the police, and a lot of this. Well, you're going to hear a lot of people out there lie to you, so they have them semi-programmed to the bad side. Then they teach them all the cop speak, legal buzzwords, teach them how to connect them, teach them how to survive in the jungle, the concrete jungle they call it. Learn how to converse with other officers, learn how to communicate with them in a non non connecting communication. I said, what does that mean? Non connecting communication. Well, you can basically almost tell your partner that if the following things happen, you're going to kill somebody if this happens. But don't say it like that. You say, if this particular situation happens, I think I might do this. Because then it's just a thought and it's just a possibility if these exact set of circumstances happen. But you're really telling them if it comes to this, uh, this is how you're going to do. So you're letting them know up front. This is how I'm going to. This is how I'm going to treat it. This is how I'm going to do it. Uh, and he'll tell you the same thing or whatever. So y'all kind of get an idea of how y'all are going to work on these things. Uh, I am a constitutional man. I'm trying to make these videos and make as many as I can to show that I'm a righteous man. I'm in my right state of mind. I try to tell people how to protect themselves lawfully. But that's why I promote www.selfdefensefund.com. Selfdefensefund.com, because I've seen too many times that a man or woman has protected their husband, their wife, their children, people at a church, people out in a parking lot. They just had, they just had on national news what they thought was a undercover officer or an off-duty officer, which was just a citizen like you or me. And there was one police ahead going after like 7 Mexican bandits down around McAllen, Texas. I missed part of the story, but I got enough of it. And that he, with his carry permit, that he and this officer subdued the people till the other police officers could get there. Now, if that man hadn't illegally been there with that gun, that officer might have been killed. Okay? So, stand your ground. Love it, love it, love it. But what I'm saying is, say, let's just say that civilian, in his best belief, saw one of these other guys with a gun and thought he was going to shoot him or the officer, and that guy shot him. In this particular scenario, it wouldn't fit the police hero and the citizen helping the police. It wouldn't fit this scenario under normal circumstances. So they would probably tout the good citizen hero and the cop hero, which is what mainstream media touts overall 90% of the time, uh, to keep them in hero status. And that's the way the government feeds the information to them. Now, let's just say that guy did shoot this other guy, and this other guy turns around and sues him. Illegal, uh, international criminal trespasser, and armed burglary in progress, okay? But just say the other family sues and say the cops said uh, that wasn't a justified shoot. Okay, then even though he was helping the cop and even though he was doing right, for some reason that cop said he wasn't really in danger when he shot the guy. Okay, well that guy's going to be arrested for possibly involuntary manslaughter or whatever else. Okay, guess what? If he's on his own, he's really in a pickle. It's probably going to cost him $5,000 to $50,000 to go through the preliminaries. Then he's got to get a bondsman to get out of jail. Then it's going to require an investigator. Then it's going to require depositions. And it's going to be very, 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 very expensive. Okay? Now, if he paid that low monthly thing or bought a whole year at a time of selfdefensefund.com, then they're going to pay for everything. Investigators, lawyers, they don't got no cap on it. And they got junkyard law, junkyard dog lawyers, trial lawyers, people that don't plea bargain. They tell the state or the police department, you better have your ducks in a row because we'll go from here to the Supreme Court with this case. And we will drain your funds dry in your little city or whatever. It's going to cost you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars because we're going to trial. Usually, unless they got an absolute knockdown, dragged out, picture perfect case, they're going to tell the other lawyers, well, let's plea bargain. No, 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 no. We're going to trial. Somewhere down the line, they're going to drop the case over 90% of the time. The other time, then you go to hearings and there's motions, and usually in a short period of time, it's over and the case is dismissed with prejudice. Okay? And then in the rare case where you got to go to court, then you got these $1 million lawyers that are trial lawyers that are the best of the best. Nobody, nobody offers what Self Defense Fund does. Self Defense Fund is it. I believe in it. I'm a member. I support it. I've got several people signed up so far, and they say they are glad they got it. And they've looked around for something that's equal or better. They said, we can't find nothing that'll touch it. So I think I've got 80 or 90 people signed up so far. And let me tell you what, I feel pretty dang safe, because a lot of people have defended themselves in their own home or their own front yard or out in the street. Uh, and the cops arrested them. Some of them have gone through a divorce. They've lost their children. They've lost their jobs. Boom, their life's over, and all they did was defend their wife or children or even a stranger. They defended them, and boom, they're in the can. And they're 30 or 50 years old, and their life is ruined. Some of them wind up having to go to jail for protecting themselves. Holy God! So I think it's like 12.50 a month. I mean, my God, how cheap can you get? And look at everything that they give you. So I belong to them and I support them, and I'm an affiliate. So if you do go to selfdefensefund.com, please write in that promo code Chief or the number 4 Chief, so I'll get credit. That way, boom, I get some I get some righteous bucks, so I can put some gas in my truck and go somewhere to do an audit or take my family out to eat, you know, or take them to a movie. You know, I still got a life that I got to lead here with my family. My family supports me, but they want to spend time with me, and we have to have downtime and decompression time and yada, yada, yada. So, you know how it is. So, and by the way, I got a question. I don't know if anybody on here will know or they won't know. Uh, and I tell people on them super chats, uh, if you want to do a super chat, it's 100% your business, and I'm never going to tell you not to do it. But, this is the but, I should have a few $100s or more coming from that from the last go around when people donated all that money on Super Chat down at Leon Valley the first time when all the auditors was there. Now the AdSense money, which is all supposed to be in one money, and you get one check or one deposit on it. Then some people said there was two, so I've heard some different things. But anyway, my AdSense money for the ads that's on here, that got paid to me. That did. But the uh, super chat money, I haven't got one single dollar of that. And that could really, really help out a lot. I mean, a lot. And so the donations people gave me in super chat that could help me and my family a lot that people's already gave, I haven't got a single penny of it. And I can't find out how to get it, and it looks like it's fixing to happen all over again. Somebody just like recently gave 300 and something dollars in chat the other day, and not one single penny of that shows up. I mean, you can go back and look on Super Chat and it shows it's there, but it doesn't show that it's going to pay me any of that or them hundreds before that people did. So, if anybody knows anybody, uh, if anybody knows how to get a hold of somebody on the phone at Super Chat and find out how or why I ain't got my money or what to do to get my money, I sure would like to know. Says talk to Freeman. Okay, I'll talk to him. I sure will. He's you know, they're supposed to take your AdSense money and your Super Chat money and put it together as one money. But they only paid AdSense and no Super Chat. But this will be the second time around, and that's bad. The promo code on the www.selfdefensefund.com is the word chief, 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 or you can write the number 4 and then write chief or for chief, either way. Uh, they had me in the code system as chief, and then there was some other promotion going on at one time, and the computer put out for chief. So chief or for chief, either way, gets me the credit. So uh, I can take my family out to eat. I can use it for gas for an audit. I can use it to pay this $130 something phone bill for this phone. When I do stuff on my computer in there, I have to have the internet to do certain things in there uh, to help me do information and research and so forth that I do for these audits. And I think that's $80 a month in there. So for these two things, that's 200 a month. Uh, so that I can keep up and do my research, contact people, yada yada yada. Yeah. hmm People are smart. I love y'all. You know, I even pray for the trolls that they would turn a new leaf, they would become saved, they would serve the Lord, they would leave people like you and me alone, that they would get out of their mom and daddy's basements and help their mamas and daddies. I have one screen, you know, and a friend of mine from Ohio, who's an electronic guru named Brother Tony, he traveled to my house and built my first one about 4 years ago. And then here about a year ago, he built my next custom computer. My computer supposedly is built for a gamer, a master gamer. And the reason it's built that way is to make it fast and process and do all the things that it does. I mean, it's built for me for research and stuff, but it works at lightning speed. Uh, so that's what I need to know. Yep, yep. I just got one. Says, Chief, can I get your number, please? Yeah, yes. Email me at Daymond, Daymond 4040 at yahoo.com. That's my email, and we'll connect that away. Yes, yes, on those files. Yeah, I got a really good computer and have most of the things that I need on there. Some things that have to pay a monthly monthly fee on. You know. Oh, yep, yep. I'm really tired and I haven't had no sleep. Okay, I'm gonna go. I just want to let y'all know I've been doing audits. I'm doing them now and I'll do them, but right now I'm kind of in the slow down mode. Now, sure as I say that, tonight or tomorrow, somebody calls me and say, "Oh, in some city over here in Louisiana or someplace in Mississippi or Tennessee or Alabama or Texas, things are really going bad, and we really need you over here." And we got uh, yay, and a few things. Hey, falling bomb, we really need some help over here, really, really bad. And yeah, we got some donations to come to help you to get there. It's probably an 80% chance or greater I'd probably wind up going. But unless something's really brewing and they really need me and the people are really asking and the people fund the PayPal, then I'm going to go. If they don't need me or they don't need me enough that people pump up the PayPal so that I don't go in the hole. In other words, I don't want to pay to go do it. If I do it, I'm doing it for y'all. So the least you can do is pay to get me there and home and take care of me while I'm there. If I'm your reporter, I'm going on your behalf. And I do the audit the best way I see fit. Uh, I'm your reporter. I'm your guy. I'm your minister if you want me to be. I try to be there everybody I can, but if you don't want me to be, then that's okay. Uh, you have whatever religion you have. So uh, I try, if possible, for people to donate as often as they can, however much they can. If it's $1, it's okay. $5, okay. $10, okay. And if you got the righteous bucks and you got 100 or 200, that's okay too. There really isn't no limit on it. Whatever you feel like. You put it in there, and I just sit on it. I mean, if just hypothetically, let's just say $500 showed up today, I'm not going to say, "Wow, I got $500. I'm going to go get me a big screen TV." No. Uh, I'm going to go buy me two new, brand new, nice looking suits. No, I'm not going to do that. Oh, we'll go down and buy our groceries. No, I don't do that neither. It goes to the actual bills to operate this equipment, to buy equipment, to buy battery packs, gas, oil changes, whatever it takes. Uh, blase, blase. Well, I'm tired, 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 tired. I think I've been up 18 or 20 hours, and I'm starting to want to drift. So I'm just a man. I'm just a man in search of truth. I'm a man that believes in my fellow man, and I want to help y'all. So let's start calling out the trolls for who they are, acknowledge them for who they are. God bless you too. God bless all of y'all. Have a super great Jesus day. Please hit the like button. Please share this with as many people as you can. And email me. But when you email me, it may take 1 day or it may take 10 days for me to get back to you. Some days I get no emails, and I've got flooded with 400 plus emails in a 24-hour period of time. That took a few weeks to get all that done, but I did it. I have never knowingly missed anybody's email. Now, if they emailed me something and cussed me out, well, there was a very quick answer to that. Like, I won't be disrespected, but obviously you have hate and anger issues, so I pray God release you of that and send that back to them. And usually I don't hear nothing else back, but anyway. So like it, share it, think about it, do whatever you feel is right. God bless y'all. Bye bye.